I regained control of my body. This was so much better than father-daughter, and floated into the air until I reached eye level with the two mortals. Well, at least with the boy. His sister, instead of using flight to make herself the same distance as her brother, still used their feet as her frame of reference. The result left her eyes a good 6 inches lower than her brother's. Twins? I knew the answer, but I wanted to hear the glorious news from them. Yes, we are Queen and Jack. He had a spade on his chest. She had a heart. He actually puffed out his chest like a Moxian warhawk when he said it. How delicious. You are a queen? He assumed I didn't understand his language. No, I'm Jack. She's... Queen interrupted her brother. She knows. She's just messing with you. Ooh, I liked her. It really was too bad that I already knew it was Jack that had to pay. He was simply too much. Jack's eyes narrowed. Will you go? I leaned forward and placed my chin in his hand. Placed my chin in my hand, excuse me, as if I rested my elbow against an unseen table. I squinched my nose, darted my tongue to the edge of my top lip, and rolled my eyes to the left, as if deep in thought. No, I won't leave. I really could have taken them both down before either could have attacked me. But what would be the fun in that? Besides, I wanted to see how their powers worked, so my plan could be completed without any unknowns getting in the way. As it was, I had time to roll my eyes not once, but twice as they began their attack. Queen took her brother's arm, and then he pointed his right hand in my direction, and he wore a glowing purple ring. A ring. A ring. Really, you earthlings are so pitiful. Don't you understand that fingers are the easiest appendage to remove from your brittle little bones? Yes, as it turned out, Jack's ring was not of your world. And because of this, the first blast from the ring actually broke the skin on my arm. What you would call a paper cut, really. And I was thrown back some 500 feet, spinning head over feet. I gathered myself and dodged the two ring blasts that followed. The beams were too narrow. With me somewhat dazed, the fool should have used a less concentrated, widespread attack. It would have at least delayed the inevitable. I had all I needed by that point. Queen's touch on Jack's arm focused his power. Whether the power was in his ring, or he needed the ring to discharge the power within him, it didn't matter. She wore a ring as well, red. She didn't seem to be using it for anything except possibly for the power of flight. Regardless, the power of flight provided by rings or by genetic mutation was nothing compared to my power over your earthly laws of physics. I dodged 3 more wild shots, the last of which nearly decapitated his sister in the process. Now I understood why she kept herself lower than him. Safety first, I always say. Queen started to move behind her brother. It appeared she was going to wrap her arms around his shoulders to ensure physical contact without affecting his line of fire. But before that, I attacked from below. It was so easy. You humans and your adherence to gravity, even within the power of flight, your heroes rarely account for the Z-axis. As Jack tried to turn his body enough to point his ring down toward me, I moved an equal amount, remaining directly below and out of Jack's field of vision. Then, the moment of my choosing, I flew into them at nearly the speed of sound. Queen fell away from her brother, out cold. Jack had to watch as his sister fell to the ground. He certainly would have flown and caught her before she struck the Oklahoma dirt. except I had wrapped my arms around him as well, just as Queen had been moving to do. He screamed and he struggled against me. 2 seconds later, she struck the earth. Bones should have cracked. Brains should have escaped her skull. But now her ring protected her. She wasn't going to wake up for some time, but she did not have the decency to die. I gave a small humph. Oh well. Jack began what I'm sure would have been a vile curse, but it was too late for me. It was too late for me to stop my teeth from piercing his trapezius. As my eyes rolled back into my head and Jack fell into unconsciousness, I thought, I really would have liked to hear that curse, Jack. Jack screamed when he woke and saw he was missing a finger. The big baby. Jack, you're... Queen coughed. You're fine. Alive. Calm down. I so liked this girl. Really, she had been knocked unconscious, fallen 1,000 feet, struck the earth, and then hauled and thrown into a golden cage. Yet she had woken up in complete control of herself and the situation around her. I admired her resolve. I had even fed her while she slept. I had liked her that much. And she was beautiful as well, under different circumstances. But again, the game was more important than the desires of my beating heart. Jack had calmed down a bit. He held his right hand tightly to his chest. His sister had wrapped it well, even with the gloves I had placed over her hands. I hadn't had time to torture any information out of her, so I had simply removed her ring, more tenderly than I had Jack's ring, and covered the skin of her hands. Didn't want her to touch him just yet. I stroked the cage with my right hand. My skin was flushed as it got in any case, a combination of the excitement of what might soon happen and the sustenance provided by Jack's blood. My 2 lava lions sat a few yards behind me, watching with a barely passing interest. I like you, Jack. I think you're... I paused and searched for a thoroughly human word. Neat. Jack hissed. You're evil. I feigned pain. I'm hurt. You wound my very soul. Queen leaned forward. She had actually placed herself between me and her brother. It took everything in my power to prevent the return of the shudder. You bitch. You bitch. You have no soul. Queen embodied defiance. I couldn't help myself. I shook. She noticed and pursed her lips. Jack didn't. What's wrong with your voice? Queen didn't look away from my face. I don't know. My throat hurts. It's raw. I continued, wanting their full attention. Remember, children, you attacked me. I think the loss of a finger is a very appropriate response to your completely unwarranted attack. Jack wanted to retort, but Queen silenced him with a look. I rubbed my hands together to cover my excitement. No, truly, I love you both. And to show you that I'm not the... I scratched my head and thought, bitch that you think I am, I'll make you a deal.